Welcome to Network Professionals. In lecture number 4 we will discuss about chapter number 2, PC Assembly. The first topic of PC Assembly is Assemble the computer. In this topic we will discuss about build a computer. Define general and fire safety standards. Connect the power supply. Install the motherboard components. Install internal drives. Install the adapter cards. Identify additional storage. Connect computer components with appropriate cables. First topic, assemble the computer. Open the case and connect the power supply. Select the case and fans. The choice of motherboard and external components influences the selection of the case and power supply. The motherboard form factor must be matched with the correct type of computer case and power supply. Factors affecting the choice of a computer case include model type. The motherboard determines the type of case you can use. The size and shape must match. Size. A computer with many components will need more room for airflow to keep the system cool. Power supply. Match the power supply rating and connection type to the motherboard. Appearance. There are many case designs to choose from. Status display. LEDs mounted on outside of case tell you if the system has power, when the hard drive is in use, and when the computer is in sleep or hibernate mode. Vents. All cases have a vent on the power supply, and some have a vent in the back to draw air out of into the system. Some cases have even more vents. Open the case and connect the power supply. Select the case and fans. Continue. Case fans should be installed to move cooler air into the computer case while moving heat out of the case. Factors to consider when choosing a case fan. Please read this carefully. Select a power supply. Power supplies convert AC input to DC output voltages. Power supplies typically provide voltages of 3.3 volts, 5 volts, and 12 volts, and are measured in wattage. The power supply must provide enough power for the installed components and allow for other components that may be added at a later time. If you choose a power supply that powers only the current components, you might need to replace the power supply when other components are upgraded. Factors to consider when choosing a power supply. Install the motherboard components. Select the motherboard. When selecting a replacement motherboard, make sure that it supports or accommodates CPU, RAM, video adapter, other adapter cards. Socket and chipset on motherboard are compatible with the CPU. The existing heatsink and fan assembly when reusing the CPU. The number, type of expansion slots. They must match the existing adapter cards and allow for new cards. The existing power supply connections must fit the new motherboard. New motherboard must fit into the current computer case. Select the CPU and CPU cooling. Before you buy a CPU, make sure that it is compatible with the existing motherboard. Manufacturers' websites are a good resource to investigate the compatibility between CPUs and other devices. The following tables list the various Intel and AMD sockets available and their supported processors. The speed of a modern processor is measured in GHz. A maximum speed rating refers to the maximum speed at which a processor can function without errors. Two primary factors can limit the speed of a processor: transmission delay. The processor chip is a collection of transistors interconnected by wires. Transmitting data through the transistors and wires creates delays. Heat generation. As the transistors change state from on to off or off to on, a small amount of heat is generated. The amount of heat generated increases as the speed of the processor increases. When the processor becomes too hot, it begins to produce errors. The front side bus, FSB, is the path between the CPU and the north bridge. It is used to connect various components, such as the chipset, expansion cards, and RAM. Data can travel in both directions across the FSB. The frequency of the bus is measured in MHz. The frequency at which a CPU operates is determined by applying a clock multiplier to the FSB speed. For example, a processor running at 3200 MHz might be using a 400 MHz FSB. 3200 MHz divided by 400 MHz is 8. So the CPU is 8 times faster than the FSB. Processors are further classified as 32-bit and 64-bit. The primary difference is the number of instructions that can be handled by the processor at one time. The CPU is one of the most expensive and sensitive components in the computer case. The CPU can become very hot, therefore, most CPUs require an air-cooled or liquid-cooled heatsink, combined with a fan for cooling. The table lists several factors to consider when choosing a CPU cooling system. Select the RAM. New RAM may be needed when an application locks up or the computer displays frequent error messages. To determine if the problem is the RAM, execute the RAM test in the BIOS. The speed of the new RAM must be supported by the chipset. Memory may also be categorized as unbuffered or buffered. Unbuffered memory. This is regular memory for computers. The computer reads data directly from the memory banks, making it faster than buffered memory. Buffered memory. Specialized memory for servers and high-end workstations that use a large amount of RAM. These have a control chip built into the module that assists the memory controller in managing large quantities of RAM. Install internal drives. Select hard drives. You may need to replace an internal storage device when it no longer meets your customer's needs, or it fails. Signs that an internal storage device is failing might be unusual noises, unusual vibrations, error messages, or even corrupt data or applications that do not load. Internal drives usually connect to the motherboard with SATA, while external drives connect with USB, eSATA, or Thunderbolt. Legacy motherboards may only offer the IDE or eIDE interface. When selecting a HDD, it is important to choose one that is compatible with the interfaces offered by the motherboard. Most internal HDDs are available in the 3.5-inch, 8.9 cm form factor. However, 2.5-inch, 6.4 cm drives are becoming popular. SSDs are generally available in the 2.5-inch, 6.4 cm form factor. Note: SATA and eSATA cables are similar, but they are not interchangeable. Factors to consider when purchasing a new hard disk drive are listed in the figure. Install internal drives. Select optical drives. Factors to consider when purchasing an optical drive are listed below the figure. Install the hard drive. A computer case holds drives in drive bays. The table describes the 3 most common types of drive bays. To install an HDD, find an empty hard drive bay in the case that will accommodate the width of the drive, as shown in the figure. When installing multiple drives in a case, it is recommended to maintain some space between the drives to help airflow and enhance cooling. Also, mount the drive with the metal side face up. This metal face helps to dissipate heat from the hard drive. Installation tip: slightly hand tighten all the screws before tightening any of them with a screwdriver. This will make it easier to tighten the last 2 screws. Install the optical drive. Step 1. From the front of the case, choose the drive bay that you want to hold the drive. Remove the faceplate from that bay if necessary. Step 2. Position the optical drive so that it aligns with the 5.25-inch, 13.34 centimeters drive bay opening at the front of the case, as shown in the figure. Step 3. Insert the optical drive into the drive bay so that the optical drive screw holes align with the screw holes in the case. Step 4. Secure the optical drive to the case using the proper screws. Installation tip: slightly hand tighten all the screws before tightening any of them with a screwdriver. This will make it easier to tighten the last 2 screws. Install the adapter cards. Adapter cards are designed for a specific task and add extra functionality to a computer. There are a variety of adapter cards: graphics, sound, storage controller, I/O, NIC, capture. Adapter cards are inserted into 2 types of expansion slots on a motherboard: peripheral component interconnect, PCI, PCI Express, PCIe. PCIe has 4 types of slots: X1, X4, X8, and X16. Note: if the motherboard does not have a compatible expansion slot, an external device may be an option. Select adapter cards. Other factors for adapter card selection. Before purchasing an adapter card, consider the following questions. What are the user's current and future needs? Is there an open and compatible expansion slot available? What are the possible configuration options? Before purchasing an adapter card, consider the following questions. What are the user's current and future needs? Is there an open and compatible expansion slot available? What are the possible configuration options? Install the adapter cards. Expansion cards are installed into an appropriate slot on the motherboard. Many video adapter cards require separate power from the power supply using a 6-pin or 8-pin power connector. Installation tip: research the length of the video card. Longer cards may not be compatible with certain motherboards. Some adapter cards may come with mounting brackets of different heights to accommodate these cases. Installation tip: Some cases have small slots at the bottom of the hole where the cover was removed. Slide the bottom of the mounting bracket into this slot before seating the card. Continue in the next lecture. Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel Network Professionals for more informative videos.